is July. We can't take ourselves too seriously.
That's true. And one, and two, here we go. Welcome, you're listening to The Best of Investing on Talk 910. I'm your host, Edward Brown, and I'm proud to have as my co-host Mark Humph of Pacific Private Money, one of California's fastest growing mortgage investment firms, and Kathryn Harris, CPA of Parati & Karat. Our phone number is 888-912-1190. Use that number to answer the trivia questions for 3 vacations given away during each commercial break. Now, the vacations are not sponsored by the radio station, but by Lighthouse Resort and Marina, which is located 1 hour northeast of San Francisco. Vacations are free. Their only request, a $75 cleaning fee to cover the housekeeping expenses. And today's trivia theme is, how safe are you? Okay, that'd be kind of interesting little tidbits there.
Safe?
Yeah, that's right. Our website.
Marathon man.
This may go very, yeah.
That's right. Our website is bestofinvesting.com. Check us out on television also, Comcast Channel 26 and AT&T Channel 99, Saturdays at noon, Sundays at 6 p.m. Now, Kathryn, you've got some interesting stuff about like student loans to talk about.
You know what? As a CPA, just like I imagine in many of your industries, people they seek out your advice in sometimes areas that you are not an expert. So my sister came to me. She is finishing her residency and has a bit of student debt.
Oh my gosh.
Yes, you can only
Especially like she could be an MD.
Oh yes,
Okay.
She
Like
actually.
something in the 6 digits, maybe?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. So she comes to me seeking advice about her student loans, which I told her as much as I could, which is limited, but a little bit more than what she's got. And then I came across this article asking very much a similar question. I was like, you know what, good conversation for the show. So this article kind of brought up to, hey, I have student debts of $100,000. There's this program that after providing nonprofit service or servicing the nonprofit industry, or I think also potentially working for a government agency. Got to check on that one.
Right.
You potentially can get your debt forgiven. And the response to this question was, be careful what you choose, because that's only a product or that debt forgiveness is only offered on federal loans, not private loans.
Oh,
And
okay.
and more this reason I bring it up to you and to the audience is just do your due diligence. Is you've got to be careful.
Did you just say doo-doo?
I did.
Due diligence?
You know,
It's a Beavis and Butthead moment.
Yeah,
Hey, it's July. We can't take ourselves too
That's right.
seriously.
All the 4-year-olds.
We gotta relax.
Is that right? All the 4-year-olds are listening.
Are laughing right now.
That's okay.
He's in a bad word.
Yeah, we have a high percentage of 4-year-old listeners.
Yeah.
We're gonna be on Disney, Radio Disney soon.
That's it. Okay, so
But do.
okay, so how long do you theoretically have to work for these nonprofits?
So this service that they provide, the program that the federal government offers is that I think you provide 10 years of service to a nonprofit, and you have to do reporting throughout that 10 years. If you don't, it might come back to haunt
But
you.
even if you have, let's say, $100,000 of student debt, and you're going to make $8 an hour working for a nonprofit
Yeah, that
versus
doesn't
making
sound like a
$100,000 a
good
year, that's
trade-off.
not that great.
Well,
Yeah.
that's where a lot of it, and that's kind of my warning to people in their 20s, to parents, because oftentimes when children are going off to college, they're signing that federal loan grant package that was
Sure.
offered to them that makes them so they can go to college without realizing the repercussions of it. It cracks me up.
Do you have to work for the nonprofit for either full-time, or there's just got to be a minimum number of hours? Probably,
I
right?
imagine there is,
Yeah,
and
because
there's
otherwise
some
you go,
type
sure, I'll do it on the weekends.
Exactly.
And I'm debt forgiven.
there's definitely
It's
some
very
type
fun.
of certification
$200
for
an
it. And then they even offer one where if you don't work for the federal government, I think there is a program out there that says, hey, as long as you've met your minimum requirement payments for 25 years, your debt's forgiven. Now,
I think if you work for the federal government, they should increase your student loan just for a penalty. So,
Yes.
yeah, that's my
and
thought.
interest accrues. So by the time
Yeah.
and oftentimes where you're taking a gamble
Yeah.
because no one can give you a straight answer
Yeah.
about what exactly will be forgiven. And then the question is, what is forgiven, and is that debt that is forgiven, is that taxable debt?
Taxable, yeah.
And now, hey, even if it's, I was speaking to my sister, I'm like, in her instance, I mean, your interest and debt, it will double by the time you maybe potentially, you may get this option to have your debt forgiven. And then it may be potentially taxable, and you're right back down to,
Oh,
to
yeah.
paying. Oh,
Yeah.
and if you think about interest and how much it costs, and
Yeah, but
compounding interest. It's,
yes, but I guess if you can delay it for 10 years, the time value of money is worth something too. But it's a complicated situation.
Yes.
On
It
that.
seems to me if you have accrued $100,000 in student debt, you probably did something in the medical or legal field. It seems to me you're better off taking your chances at earning a high
yes.
wage.
Well, yes, I had another sister who she's going into public health, which is great, but she at least did a little bit of doo-doo before going into the program, and she came out with not a six-figure loan, but a high five-figure
Okay.
loan. And she knows how, I mean, even if you make, you think about just the going rate of how much rent costs in the Bay Area, just for rents and your normal living expenses are. And then think about what you have to pay on a $80,000, $100,000 loan and what people make. It can have a significant impact on how you live.
Well, my son, before he graduated from college, he just said, "Listen, Dad, don't worry. I memorized those 6 magic words." Which ones? He goes, "Would you like fries with that?"
Yeah.
Just in case.
There's a side job.
Well,
So-
you know, it probably has a significant impact on the fact that a lot of millennials live at home now. Because you've got, I think, the student debt dilemma, issue, challenge, problem, whatever you want to look at it. It is a huge problem for a lot of people. The student debt is the largest growing segment of consumer debt that there is right now, and you've hit it on the head. If you've got that big monthly interest and principal payment to make on your $50,000, $60,000, $75,000, $80,000, $100,000 student debt, you're probably going to be knocking on mom and dad's door and wondering, hey, can I live here for a couple of years while I get my foot in the doors, get my earnings up there, and then pay down my student debt.
And you don't even, and which is why, again, the word to the wise is to students if they're listening and to parents if you're listening, is take the time when you make a decision about where you're going to go for college or whether you're considering a graduate program, know what is the average rate of pay when you come out of college. Is it worth that degree? Or maybe you should go I'm a huge advocate for the JC system here in California.
Yeah, you have to get the GE out of the way anyway. That's what I did.
I did it. I'm
You
one
did
of,
too, didn't you?
I did,
yeah, I'm one of 8 kids, and I proudly say that I think 6 of us went to either UC Berkeley or UCLA. One went to UC San Diego. We all went to very high accredited universities, and we all went through College of Marin. And you can stay at home, and you can at a the tuition is significantly less.
My daughter just turned 18. She's going to go off to college, and it's like, pack your bags, get out.
Okay.
Get out now.
Now.
No,
Such
no,
a
she's
nice
good.
guy.
Yeah, no, she's a good kid and all that. But we talked about that, and it's like she wants to leave home, and, and we want her to spread her wings.
And it is, but it's definitely a conversation that has to be had with parents and their children who are finishing up high school and ready to spread their wings and educating them. Oftentimes, I say this is a joke, but it's not. When my husband went into law school, it's here's your financial package, sign here. With very little information, and then of course at the very end, they would not hand him his degree until he took a financial education class and make him understand. Here's your interest rate. Here's your payment options, and you have to take a little test.
Well,
but
you gotta figure also being going into the legal field, you think he would read the documents.
Exactly. Yes, and then they're not even a contract that's really available to sign when you first get it. It's just here it is. You say yes or no, and it's a one page when you first get offered, and you don't get it to the end.
Yeah,
so
how are you gonna say no to that?
You just don't get the information ahead of time. So
all right.
do your doo-doo.
Do your doo-doo, okay? We're going to cut to our first commercial break, and the seriousness of this is how safe are you? But before we get into how safe are you, I've got a fun golf joke for you, right? You ready for this?
Yeah.
The police are called to an apartment and find a woman holding a bloody 3-iron standing over a lifeless man. The detective asks, "Ma'am, is that your husband?" "Yes," says the woman. "Did you hit him with that golf club?" Yes, I did." The woman begins to sob, drops the club, and puts her hands on her face. "How many times did you hit him?" And she says, "I don't know, put me down for a 5. I love that one. I'm sorry. Okay, now, here we go to the more
Yes,
serious
that sounds
questions here. How safe are you? According to the National Safety Council, what is which of the following is responsible for? Okay, what is the most responsible cause for burns to a person in the home? What is the most thing that's responsible for getting a burn in the home? All right. So that's the question. We're talking about how safe are you? The first 3 callers with the correct answer win a free 3-day, 2-night stay at the Lighthouse Resort. Call 888-912-1190. That's 888-912-1190 to answer this question. According to the National Safety Council, what is the most responsible for the most cause of burns to a person in a home? All right, stay with us. You're listening to The Best of Investing with Edward Brown, Mark Hahn, and Kathryn Harris, CPA. Don't touch that dial because we'll be right back. Sometimes when I copy and paste this, it's their multiple choice. It says which of the following is, and it's like, it's not which of the following. And then this one, is going to be July 18th.
I was going to ask, I couldn't remember.
Yeah, because we got the one that we did with Rob.
Where are you going on vacation?
Europa. Yeah, we're going to Rome for 2 days and we do this really cool cruise, like all over the place, even Mediterranean. And it's like and then we end up in Venice, which we really like.
Is it all Italy or other
well,
countries
it's let's see,
like, I don't know.
Mykonos,
I know where I'm going.
and then Slovenia for a day. It's all that.
Slovenia, Slovakia.
Yeah.
They're just you and your wife?
No, Sarah's going with us. It's kind of a graduation type present. Yeah.
And you're also heading out, right?
I was going to Hawaii.
I love how you said, like, I'm just going.
Yeah.
That just sounds
it's
quite.
but somebody's got to do it.
I know.
And it's funny because we're going to Hawaii too, but in October. He's going in August. We're going in October, so we're going to miss each other.
What island?
Maui. We go to the same place.
Here today.
There we go.
Is it a timeshare?
No,
You just like that?
we just like the
Grand Wailea.
the Wailea region.
Is that what they call it now? Is that the Grand Wailea? Or
It is the
next
Grand
to it?
Wailea, but
Okay.
we're actually going into the condos behind the Grand. For the first time, we're renting a 3-bedroom condo that is part of the Grand Wailea development, so you get the pass for the pool, which is the big thing. Because if you stay anywhere else, you can't get into the Grand Wailea.
Yeah,
So they won't let you buy a day pass.
So the whole family's going?
Yes.
So the girls get their own rooms and stuff? So like
They only do 5-star.
Yes, although I forgot. Yeah.
All right, so this segment, let's. I have I want to talk about the 1031 question.
Oh yeah.
What else could we
Yeah,
talk
that's
about? CPA related, real estate, flat tax.
Yeah,
coming out.
Did you write any articles?
I burned them all up last time with Rob. We just and I kept trying to find more, but it's just they're all blank.
It's okay. We got. We'll go to our email thing.
Okay.
Okay.
That sounds good.
I got another joke too for this one.
I thought you were about to start talking about Tiger Woods. That's what it started sounding
Oh
like.
yeah.
A
Yeah.
woman with a golf club.
Yeah, that's
Oh.
right. That's true. I forgot about that. Okay, here we go. Welcome back to the Best of Investing. I'm Edward Brown, your host, along with Mark Hahn and Kathryn Harris. When we cut to the first commercial break, we asked this trivia question about how safe are you? According to the National Safety Council, what is responsible for causing the most burns to a person in a home?
I think it's microwave.
I was going to say stove.
Improper placement of pots and pans on a stove.
Okay.
Okay, that's, we'll give you credit for that.
Thank you.
That works. Okay, Mark, you've got an interesting question you received about 1031 exchanges, and it's a good thing we got Kathryn Harris here.
Well, yeah, and I asked her actually when she first walked in before we went on the air today. It was just about, I've gotten several of these questions lately. So at Pacific Private Money, we have an investment vehicle for people called the Pacific Private Money Fund. It is a mortgage pool fund, and investors in that fund can earn 8% or more on their money. Of course, past performance is not a promise of future results, but for the past 24 months, consistently it's been paying out monthly at an annual rate of about little over a couple ticks above 8%. And it is essentially like a mutual fund of mortgage secured notes. The only two assets in our fund are cash and real estate notes, mortgage notes, mostly Bay Area properties. So we have a lot of people who are sophisticated real estate investors who invest in our fund because they understand real estate, they trust real estate, they like the idea of being the bank and investing in our mortgage pool fund to make Bay Area loans. And twice in the last couple of weeks, I've had people call and say, does your investment qualify for a 1031 exchange? Now, if you're listening and you've never heard that term or you're not sure what a 1031 exchange is, 1031 refers to it's an IRS regulation, correct? That allows you to code section, right, to defer taxes if you sell a property and you reinvest those profits. I'm going to say it's more specific than I'm going to describe it, but it's essentially if you sell a property and you reinvest those profits back into another property or a like kind
without
property, touching the money, you don't have to pay taxes on it. And a lot of real estate investors have used this tool. Instead of paying taxes when they sell real estate, they turn around and buy another piece of real estate. Well, since the mortgage pool fund is kind of a real estate related, I get that question frequently now. If I'm selling some property, if I take those proceeds and invest it in your fund, Mark, will that qualify for a 1031 tax deferred exchange? And I've been telling them that I think the answer to that is no.
And you're right. And let me kind of make a couple additional, I'm going to add a few more adjectives. It's
You're going to get it now, Mark. Yep. She's adding adjectives. Go ahead.
It's investment property, or when it comes to like kind of exchanges, it can't obviously be like your primary residence, where if you were to sell your primary residence, you can't turn around and buy another primary residence and defer that gain. So it's often for investment property. So remember and that obviously for a lot of your investors, who are sophisticated and appreciate the investment in real estate, oftentimes would have rental properties and have a significant amount of built-up gains. And when you go to sell that rental property, you have to pay taxes on that big built-up gain. And the option is if you could find a like kind asset, which would be another rental property, you could basically defer that gain and almost put in that built-in gain into your next piece of property. And the reason it's not subject, or you can't do a like-kind exchange for a piece of rental property and invest in your fund is that it's not a like-kind.
So the term like-kind, like-kind, that is actually in the regulation. What is that a definable term, or can you define what they mean by that?
I don't know if I can define it exactly, but it's there's definitely a lot of examples, and I mean there's pieces.
I always thought it was vague, so it's gray.
It is gray, but it's also pretty. It's gray, but rules and regulations and case law has proven that it is very specific in its grayness.
They're very clear about being vague.
Yeah. Like a lot of things on there.
It'd be great, because someone came to me and said, well, I'm selling, my rental property, and I really don't want to go out and buy another rental property, and they're overpriced now and hard to find, blah, blah. I want to take advantage of the market, but I'd really like to just, reinvest those in your fund if I can defer the taxes. So that's really too bad. So even though they're going from owning rental property to potentially owning shares in a real estate secured mortgage fund, that is not like kind of enough.
No, I mean, first of all, you're talking mortgages versus, but you can't even invest it in it.
You go from an owner to a lender.
Yeah, but even then, I mean, even if you were strictly just like a regular REIT that owned property, they still couldn't do it because it's still considered a security.
You couldn't maybe one of your direct ones where you are holding the debt of that one mortgage because you went from
you can't go into mortgage though.
Yeah, exactly. Though it's like yes, it's the same industry.
Yeah, same industry. Exactly.
It's a very significant they're definitely significant different subsets of that industry.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's not good for Mark and his fund to be able to not accept people and You have to pay taxes first and then invest.
So if you have a question about like kind, is that something that you as a CPA, do you as a practice, would you contact the IRS for like a
Private letter ruling?
that's what they
That's what they call it.
private letter ruling?
It really does depend, and sometimes depending on it depends. I would oftentimes see if we can find case law that could support us in taking that position, and let the IRS come to you and say, here's our research, this is what we found, and here's the position we took. If you disagree, show us where we missed something.
Well, also, the other thing is that with regular rental property, you depreciate it. There's really nothing to depreciate on shares and a security.
No, that's true. That's true. My dad was a commercial real estate investor, and I remember he did some pretty complex exchanges, and oftentimes that would come under the scrutiny of the IRS, because I think they would have a real estate attorney do it, but I don't know that they ever went to the trouble to get a private letter ruling, because it probably is not something you can get done very quickly.
No, it wouldn't. But it's take the advantage if you are considering some type of a like-kind exchange or something that you think may qualify, is reach out to your CPA and ask those questions, because you may be making your own judgment, doing your own research online. The internet is great for some things, it's not great for other things.
And now's probably a good time to reach out to your CPA. What do you work on in the summer? What keeps you guys busy in
We
July?
actually start our tax planning now. Just start with the client, hey, halfway through the year. We know what half of the year looked like for sure, and let's take a look and let's see what you think the next half of the year is going to be.
So July is a good time to review, right? It's amazing we're halfway through 2015. Are you kidding me? Wow.
Yes. Happy July.
I wonder how many clients you get who wait until February and then go, let me go back and redo the books.
What do you say to someone, and I'm talking about myself, I still haven't filed for 2014 because I've got multiple entities, and I already know I owe taxes, so I'm just going to go file late.
Pay the penalties.
Pay the penalties and blah, blah, blah.
Got an extension.
Well, that's
yes.
true.
Yeah.
I'm
But
gonna
it's
file,
hard.
I'm
You
gonna file, and then I'm gonna owe, and it's gonna be whatever it is, but you're right. Here it is, July, and I haven't even started thinking about 2015 because I'm still living in 2014 in terms of I still have to finish this return. I can't finish my S-corp.
By the way, the Giants won the World Series in 2014.
We're still in July 2014, so
But
it's all-star break about to come
how
out.
do you encourage your clients to get in and clients like me who live when it comes to tax planning, live in the past?
Well, we do have to live almost in 2014, and then it's planning for 2015 as much as one can. Have you sold any of those investments? Have you got any new ones? Have anything happened significantly that we should be aware of? Some of our clients are actively invested or actively involved in the management of their investments, so they have a better knowledge of what's happening operationally.
Well, also, you ask them, do you remember getting spanked a couple of years ago?
Yeah.
Because you waited too long. Get in here.
Yes.
For the
Yeah.
payment.
Exactly. We just we strategize. Okay, we just want to make sure you don't get any penalty. We at least need to make the taxes, the payments equal to last year, 2014 taxes. Once we get a sense of it,
Those penalties get gnarly. In fact, is that rule still in existence? In some cases, you have to pay 125% of last year's tax to avoid the penalty.
I think it's down to 100.
It's back down to
100.
Okay, because
or 95.
Yeah, it's like they made so much money. They
California will ding you. California
What,
swears
California?
worse
walking
than.
that, yeah.
They think that they're the IRS.
You know what, Kathryn, tell you what, let's go to commercial break. When we come back, we have an interesting question about flat tax.
Ooh, I've never talked about that.
That gets Mark's
So
juices
exciting.
going.
Yes.
So Mark, okay. Okay, one more quick little joke here. This one's not so good, but it's okay.
Way
It's a
to
golf
amp
joke, yeah.
yourself up for it.
Yeah, exactly. A gushy reporter told Phil Mickelson, "You're spectacular. Your name is synonymous with the game of golf. You really know your way around the course. What's your secret?" Mickelson replied, "The holes are numbered." Okay. So here now we're gonna see. I have to say the funny ones because now we get into the serious ones of the trivia
Okay.
question of how safe are you?
I thought we were supposed to have a light July. Nice and
Oh yeah, that's right. Okay. The National Electric Code in the U.S. mandated that newly built homes carry at least 100 amp service in 1956. Prior to 1956, the standard was how many amps to a private dwelling? The first three callers to the answer to that question are going to win a free 3-day, 2-night stay at the Lighthouse Resort. Call 888-912-1190. That's 888-912-1190 to answer this question. The National Electric Code in the U.S. mandated that newly built homes carry at least 100 amp service in 1956. Prior to 1956, the standard was how many amps to a private dwelling? All right, stay tuned because you're listening to The Best of Investing with Edward Brown, Mark Hunt, and Kathryn Harris. When we come back, we're going to ask Kathryn that question about flat tax. Stay with us. Don't touch that dial. Don't do it. Okay.
Too much fun.
I was telling the guys before, I said because I'm on vacation, I had to make sure that I was going to ask questions that were really hard because I don't want a whole bunch of emails where I think,
Did I get it right?
Yeah, exactly.
Is that what it is now, currently? The 100, it's not 100 amps now. I don't
No,
know.
It has to be
I'm
at least
curious.
100 amps.
This, yeah.
No, that's the half, yeah, because
So
now
The 100's
now,
not,
I would
nowadays, 100 amps is not very much.
I would
It's
think.
like, I'm putting 200 in my house, my
Yeah.
remodel. It's built in 67 with 100 amps. But you can't power like
a hard
hot
drive.
tubs and all the hardware and all the machines and all those blow dryers.
Yeah.
The women in your
Hair
life are just
straighteners
destroyed. Yes. Yes, the bathroom
cars.
alone needs 100 amps.
Yeah, that's right. Heaters, yeah, everything. Yeah, every room you walk into, the heater's going. Plug-in heater.
If we have the time and we need time, I was going to say, but what we can do in July, if you can't plan tax-wise, but there's other things you can be proactive in planning, and that's reevaluating your 401k
Oh.
and your investments and
That's true.
Okay.
your designation forms.
Okay. Last your
Other
trivia
things
question,
that you
last
can do
March.
that.
then we'll go.
Yeah. We have time.
Okay, here we go. Welcome back to The Best of Investing. I'm Edward Brown, your host, along with Mark Hunt and Kathryn Harris. When we got to the second commercial break, we asked this trivia question about how safe are you? The National Electric Code in the U.S. It mandated that newly built homes carry at least 100 amp service in 1956. That's not even enough to do a candle, I don't think. But prior to 1956, the standard was how many amps to a private dwelling?
Good electrician question.
Yes.
Don't have the answer.
I'll go with 10.
40.
60.
60?
60.
All right.
I'm actually surprised. That's a lot less.
Now 100 amps barely powers my
Again,
bathroom.
yeah.
Yeah, with my girls in
Female's
there.
bathroom.
Yeah.
Yeah, I used to test the kids when they were taking a bath as if the hairdryer worked. I said, here, catch this. Okay, no, that was just a joke. Don't call Child Protective Services. Okay.
They turned out all right, right?
All right, Kathryn, email comes in because you're the CPA. Do you favor a flat tax?
Ask a CPA
Yeah,
if she favors
that's
a flat
that's
tax.
it.
That's just
Professionally,
me.
I kind of have to say no.
Yeah, she's
I
so
know,
honest to a fault. But that's
It
okay.
is, but
be in the
you can't- I mean,
breadline.
it would be exactly.
Yeah.
Well,
I still have those. We're coming back.
but personally, yeah, it would be great. But it's a conversation that's been had for how many decades? Yes, I'm
Yeah.
talking decades, not
Yeah, really.
years.
Yeah, which one of the 27 candidates for the Republican
Pat Paulson.
presidency is,
Or Mickey
Yes.
Mouse, one of those.
yeah, one of those guys.
I'm
Is it
a-
Rand Paul or is
No,
it
it's Donald
calling
Trump.
for a flat tax?
Well, wait, I do have a question though. If you
Really?
if you have again, this is forgetting all the nuances with complications. If you have just general flat tax, you'd have to make it a significant percentage, 9, 10, 15%, something, right?
Yes.
What would that do to productivity? Because if I'm ready to, let's say I'm going to buy a new car, and suddenly I'm going to have to pay an extra, let's call it 10%, and we're talking about a $40,000 car. To pay an extra $4,000, that's going to make me go, yeah, maybe not.
Well, the thing is
Well, that's
too.
a sales tax. Are we
Right.
talking an income tax? I mean, there's.
Right.
You-
There's
it's-
consumption
Oh,
Oh,
tax.
that's true.
never
I'm
happen.
thinking
It's
of
kind of
I'm thinking of the
VAT,
trade-off.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay,
Of
audience,
value added.
forget what I just said the last 2 minutes.
But I got questions this last tax season from people. Why are you asking about my health insurance? why do you want a copy of my Medicare card? It's never going to happen. I mean, that the Affordable Care Act came into play in 2014, and we had to ask the question: did you have health insurance for the full year?
Oh, yeah.
And if you provide some documentation. So that's what I think the Supreme Court came down was Affordable Care Act is a tax.
Yeah.
And how is it managed through your income tax filing? It is never going to get
Can't you just
easier.
look at them and just go, do I look like I have health insurance? Do I look like I need it?
I was actually surprised for people who did it, and for some people who have small businesses, that's where they went, and that worked for them. Or a lot of people where one spouse was in Medicare, and that was the person who worked, and the other person was somebody who stayed at home, and they were a little younger and didn't hit Social Security, weren't on Medicare yet. That was where their option was. So it was I was surprised. You would think that it would be one type of person, but it wasn't.
Can I go back in time for just a minute here?
Yeah.
Okay.
2000.
No. With my part about the flat tax, I think actually what I was more getting at is if you don't get a tax deduction for buying equipment for your business, then you might look and go, why should I spend $20,000 on a Xerox machine for my business if I don't get a tax deduction, if it's just strictly a flat tax?
Right, because
that's the product.
Because our taxes, I mean, obviously the core concept of the tax is to raise money for the government, but it's also designed to motivate behavior toward a public good,
like
right?
the investment tax credit from years ago.
Exactly, and to buy a home.
Right. So if we end up with a flat tax, there's still going to be these 57, if not 157, yes, but, the protected things like, well, you still have to have the home mortgage deduction, and you still have to have, something to promote businesses to buy equipment, and you still have to promote affordable health care and blah, blah, blah.
It goes on and on and on. Nonprofit donations, that's what people give for that. We work and do donations strategically with our individuals.
It would just end up looking like the existing. It might not be 157,000 pages. It might be only 57,000 pages, but it's still going to be as complex.
Okay, so I'm going to say
you're not going to be out of business anytime soon.
Okay, I'm going to say something that's not exactly politically correct. In the, you still don't turn off your radios.
Wait till you hear it.
Just wait till you hear it. But and I said this back in 2005, and I had to basically stop what I was saying because it wouldn't work for 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 as the market was going down. But now that the stock market's at an all-time high and real estate's done really well, so there's a lot of capital gains that are sitting there doing nothing. If they meaning Congress, were to lower the capital gains tax to, I'll just say 9, I'm just picking a number, 9%, you could probably wipe out the deficit in a few years. Because there are people with hundreds of trillions of dollars, I don't know if it's really trillions, but at least hundreds of billions of dollars who are sitting on assets that, they bought Google when it was at $1 and now it's at, 1,000 or whatever it is.
But there is a political party out
there you go.
That
just benefiting their bets.
Right, that exists to promote itself and to get reelected over and over and over again, that would just absolutely find themselves in a tizzy over something.
Well, there was a liberal senator, and I don't remember which one, but I'd heard this, that when someone had made that suggestion about lowering capital gains tax, right? He said, no. He says, I don't care if it destroys the country as long as the rich pay taxes.
And people are really they're adamant. They are. They're and that no matter who you elect to Congress, that they're going to be made up of people with very strong opinions, and they're very short-sighted. The entire government is short-sighted, to be honest. It's just what it is. It's filling what leak is happening today. Find a plug to fill it, and there's the next leak.
Yeah.
But they're wrong and they're short-sighted, and on both sides of the fence, and they just don't realize it. But it could reduce productivity, or could it? Maybe it may not, but no one really knows. But they think that that's.
Well, there are a lot of capital gains that are just sitting there deferred, and there's a lot of wealth that wants to get transferred from one generation to the next, but they are trying to figure out all this avoidance of tax because the taxes are too high. So if you lower them enough, I'll just pick on the Kennedy family as an example. Okay, let's
Yeah.
say that they have like hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars locked up into real estate and stocks that have lots of capital gains. Well, if you lower the tax to, and again, I'm just picking a number, 9%. So they pay, $10 million or whatever it is, but then they're done with it. Then they get a huge high basis, which, then can now be depreciated at a higher level, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, that's good for everybody. It keeps the realtors busy, it keeps everybody busy.
And doesn't the IRS have these amnesty programs that go on year after year after year because they want they waive penalties and interest to motivate behavior to people to come in and
who are cheaters.
Right, to do a certain thing, and it raises capital. I mean, there's proof out there that those types of programs work. But instead, we've got an administration that actually wants to increase capital gains, thinking it will raise more money. And when does that ever happen?
Yeah, it's always wrong. I mean, the motivating factor for me to pay my taxes is I get thrown in jail if I don't.
That's right.
Yes.
I don't want to get thrown in jail.
Yes, it's definitely what is the minimum I need to do to pay what I need to pay. I'll pay what I have to, whatever my obligation is, but whatever, and try at least, that's what half of my job is strategic planning, starting from July all the way through December. So you pay.
Was it a president or was it a judge who said nobody needs to pay more than is required of the law?
Yes.
It's basically given the license to the
Probably
CPA.
Taft.
Why? Because you always vote for Taft.
That's right. I always vote for Taft.
Is that kind of like a cartoon or something?
It is. It was like a, I don't know.
Cartoon from 1919?
Yeah.
He's hoping he
The Far
tries
Side,
to-
I think it was.
Yes.
Who are you voting for? Taft. I always vote for Taft.
Anyone who's got the closest name to Taft, that's who you go for, huh?
Yeah.
Or the closest
I like
person
those
weighs 300
4-letter
pounds.
names.
Yeah.
The
That's an interesting way
four-letter
to vote.
Yeah.
Going
Vote for
completely
Taft,
like
it's a
not
four-letter
political.
word.
Exactly. What I can spell easiest.
All right. You guys ready?
Yep.
Okay. I got one more joke for you.
Yes.
Gotta do
golf
one more. Okay, yeah, another golf joke.
Okay.
Okay. A husband and a wife are on the 9th green when suddenly she collapses from a heart attack. "Help me, dear," she groans to her husband. The husband calls 911 on his cell phone, talks for a few minutes, picks up his putter and lines up his putt. His wife raises her head off the green and stares at him. "I'm dying here and you're putting?" He says, "Don't worry, dear," says the husband calmly. "They found a doctor on the second hole and he's coming to help you." Well, how long will that take him to get here?" she asks feebly. He says, "No time at all," says her husband. "Everybody's already agreed to let him play through." Some of those ones are pretty good, I gotta say. Okay, third and final trivia question. How safe are you? This is kind of a fun physics question. When setting up a 12-foot ladder against a house, now you need a protractor and a compass for this
It
one.
sounds like
Protractor.
And a barometer and a thermometer and everything. Okay. When setting up a 12-foot ladder against a house, how far should the base of the ladder be placed away from the wall? And if you got a slide rule, you can figure
To
that
be
one.
safe, right?
To be safe, yeah.
Okay. All
Okay,
right.
the first three callers with the correct answer win a free 3-day, 2-night stay at the Lighthouse Resort. Call 888-912-1190. That's 888-912-1190 to answer this question. When setting up a 12-foot ladder against a house, how far should the base of the ladder be placed away from the wall? All right, stay with us. You're listening to The Best of Investing. Edward Brown, Mark Hahn, Kathryn Harris, Ike. The gang's all here. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Do you have a question for you? Is there a question?
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, he's good.
Yeah.
That's now.
I didn't hear.
Why do you always vote for Taft? That's the question.
Okay.
I just like the cartoon.
But wait, though, the first side
So
is it's not. You can't hear it.
I know.
If you read it, right? So that's what I was wondering. I thought
It was
a cartoon 'cause the
it was
voice.
some cartoon.
It's gotta be
from way
a
back.
cartoon.
You create it in your own head as you read it.
Too much fun. Shouldn't be allowed to have this much fun. There should be a law about having this much fun.
I think it was something like, "So who are you voting for in this election?" "Taft." "But Taft's not running." "I always vote for Taft."
There's these others right here.
Who's the one that said, if elected, I won't run?
It was like 100 years old or something.
Yeah, if elected, I won't.
just
But
laughing
if,
at the
if
Republican
nominated, I
Party right
won't
now,
run,
sorry.
and if elected, I won't serve. Who
That's just stupid. Of course you will.
Yeah.
Air Force One? What are you, nuts? Yeah, man. Butlers.
Oh my God. Just for that alone. I don't care. I'll get kicked out in like 10 days. It'll be great.
Okay. Oh, I gotta figure out how many minutes we got here.
Yeah, figure out how many minutes. Did you tell me what my question was, or am I
No,
just
that's
gonna
why I
have
didn't
to-
hear it. What was
How
it?
often does the interest rate you pay in your fund change?
Happens to get paid out.
Minute by minute.
Okay.
Minute.
Do you guys use a software to manage and to?
The fund administrator does. It's a
Not
software.
fun to, okay.
Yeah, so it's monthly.
It's good. I mean, I just got
It can be
an
daily. It can
electronic.
be mutual fund like, but it's not.
What do you guys
I'm
do
having
on
you guys-
an annual, monthly basis?
Some do quarterly.
Do you
know,
some funds.
assume that do you assume which kind of falls with it? Do you assume when people pay mid-month, is it effective the day they go into the fund, or is it assumed as if you were in
So
the beginning
it's
and the
treated
end?
as a loan for the odd days before the first of the month that your money's been activated.
Okay.
So first it goes into a subscription account and earns zero. When it's needed to fund a loan, it's deployed into the operating account and it's paid interest only at the preferred rate, which for us is 7% for those odd days. First they're admitted into the fund and now they become a shareholder and they earn at the whatever the gross payout rate is.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's pretty clever. And it always confuses people at first because
Well, once you're in.
they get a note holder statement and then a partner statement, and the note holder statement says zero at the end. Well, wait, I put in $50,000.
Where did my
Well,
money
no, we
go?
paid off.
Yeah.
You're at zero because we, paid the note
The
off
note
in
off.
full
Sure.
for those.
And now you're in the, yeah.
They can't.
In
The
fact,
software is the same software that's used for all mortgage pool funds. You can't change the way it makes these statements for holder statements and partner statements. I'm always every month having to re-explain.
You should put a little
Yeah.
thing on the bottom.
And now I'm
So
set
they
up for
won't need it.
automatic payments.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, so
Yeah.
Debbie set that up. So
Nice. ACH.
Ready?
So wonderful.
Here we go.
Technology.
Welcome back to the Best of Investing. Last time for today, I'm Edward Brown, your host, along with Mark Hunt and Kathryn Hales. When we cut to the third and final commercial break, we asked this trivia question about how safe are you? When setting up a 12-foot ladder against a house, how far should the base of the ladder be placed away from the wall?
I said 2 feet.
3 feet.
3 feet.
Ah.
That is correct. 25% is the ratio.
Ah.
I guess a lot of people fell down from ladders and they had to figure that one out. Okay, now Mark, we got an email for you. It says, how often does the interest rate you pay in your fund change? You have to first explain what that means.
So at Pacific Private Money, we have a mortgage pool fund for our investors. The funds are used to make real estate loans, mostly here in the Bay Area, and mostly to, well, it used to be mostly to real estate investors. Now maybe about 50% to real estate investors. And the other 50% we make to consumers in the form of bridge loans and other temporary financing that has become much in demand in 2015, thanks to the fallout from the Dodd-Frank new banking regulations that have made it take longer to get a bank loan, and because so many people are competing to get real estate in this tight market, a lot of people like to make aggressive offers and use a private money loan to close quickly and then refinance out with a hard money loan. So we've been very busy. In fact, that's probably one of the most popular loans that we're putting into our fund these days are these short-term bridge loans. So the question was, on our fund, how often does the interest rate we pay changes? So the interest that gets paid is actually really earnings, technically speaking, because every month we pay out all of the earnings of the fund. And what makes up the earnings? Well, it's the cumulative earnings from the interest that's paid on the notes that are in the mortgage pool, plus the fund's share of fees. And as a mortgage loan originator, as a mortgage broker, we share the fees that we charge our borrowers with the fund. So the fund earns both the note rate interest and it earns half of the origination fees that we as brokers charge. So and those fees are accrued over the life of the loan, which is typically 12 months, and then there's the interest earned. So we distribute those those earnings. I know that sounds a little bit complicated if you're not an accountant kind of egghead like we are here
I'm geeking
today.
right now.
Yeah, I'm geeking out. But so the answer is monthly. We distribute and pay out monthly, and we calculate what that looks like in the form of an interest rate because it's the easiest way to explain it. So for example, in June, it's now July. In June, the earnings that we distributed were at an annualized rate of 8.29%. And in fact, every month since the fund's inception 2 years ago, we have paid out over 8% on an annualized rate. And people who invest in our fund can take those earnings monthly, or you have the option of letting that interest compound and have those earnings buy more shares, which is called. So if you those fund investors that have been letting their funds compound have been earning closer to just under 8.5% year to date. So again, past performance is no promise of future results, but we do not see demand for our loan products going down. We also don't see interest rates that we're able to charge go down. We're charging, most of our loans are 10%. 9.9% is our typical note rate, and we just don't see any other competition coming in elsewhere that can compete as effectively as we do in our marketplace, being fast, friendly, reliable. They're just, all those crowdfunding sites out there, they're actually not competing with us. They're trying to do a different type of lending model, and so they're not competition for us.
You keep saying that that past performance is no guarantee of future results, but you keep performing at the same rate or better.
I know. I've had a sign that I made up several years ago that says earn 8% or more on your money. I haven't had to change it at all because it's just been just rock solid, consistent, paying out 8%, and the or more comes into play more often than not.
So give us an example, because again, for those in the audience who are fairly new to this, they're going to think, it sounds kind of risky. I mean, how come you're able to charge 9.9% interest? What kind of borrowers?
Well, first of all, they're not risky loans. Let me just put it that way. Is there risk? Of course there's risk. There's always risk. Real estate can and does cycle. It can go down. People can default on the loans. We can end up with a number of loans non-performing. These are all possibilities. I mean, if you read our investment private placement memorandum, which I'm obligated to give out to anyone who's considering investing in our fund, you'll see that there's 20 pages of risk factors. I mean, that's the there are a lot of things that can go wrong, tsunamis, earthquakes, and all kinds of stuff. But all that being said, we do less risky loans, in my opinion, than the banks do. We almost never go over 70% loan to value. In fact, the weighted average loan to value in our fund is under 55% right now, meaning that on average, the loans the nearly 10 million in loans that we have in the fund are secured by property that is worth 45% more than that. So we've got a fairly stable portfolio, and these are short-term loans. Generally, we don't make a loan without the borrower having a very strong and, to us, a reliable expectation of being able to pay that loan off in a relatively short period of time. Our average loans are paid off between 6 and 9 months is the average use of the money. So again, we're a short-term lender, we're a bridge lender. We make loans to people who are buying, fixing, and flipping real estate, as well as people who are buying real estate and then will conventionally refinance and pay off our loan in a relatively short time. So with that kind of, and most of them are purchase loans. I have to keep remembering to say this. We're not in the business of making seconds. That's what hard money used to be 20 years ago, but it's not what hard money is in 2015. Most hard money lenders don't make seconds as a business model. In fact, 95% of the loans we make are first position purchase money loans. Now, we will make a second if there's a ridiculous amount of equity in a property. We'll consider them. And again, we're a subjective lender. We're not using algorithms to make our loans. We listen to the story of the borrower and make a decision. Does this loan request make sense? And we have sophisticated investors as well as unsophisticated investors, who rely on us to properly underwrite the loan, the collateral, the borrower, and but then they also rely on us to the fact that we've been, I personally have over 30 years of real estate experience, real estate investing experience, and everyone on my team has decades of banking experience and underwriting experience. So we know what we do. We're a subjective lender. We don't do a huge volume. We're not B of A. We do, between 15 and 20 deals, transactions per month. We're on pace this year to maybe do about 75 million in loans. Again, we save a lot of deals for a lot of people. And I like to say we're fast, friendly, and reliable.
Instead of walking around with a black hat, he walks around with a white hat.
Yes.
He saves the day.
Hey, nobody likes paying 10% for money, but trust me, when you've got, when you want that property, or maybe your bank financing fell through and you've got a $50,000 non-refundable deposit at risk, you're not easily walking away from that transaction. And maybe if it's $1 million transaction and you're looking at maybe 20,000 in fees to a company like ours, versus losing a $50,000 deposit, or maybe you just really want that property. It's a lifestyle thing. So, you just add it to the cost of the overall transaction. And again, we take a little bit of the hurt out of it by being, friendly and reliable and easy to work with. We have got
as you're collecting 9.9%.
It's an emotional decision for a lot of those people. Like you said, that's amazing.
It's more important
50% of it is primary residence for not even that people are flipping homes.
No, exactly.
You're helping in a very emotional.
Sure.
When I first got into this business, I was amazed at how unfriendly many of the people in this industry were. Well, a lot of them aren't in business anymore.
Yeah.
For obvious reasons.
Yeah,
they act like what's in it for me type of thing. And we're very service oriented. And again, it takes a little bit of the sting out of it. At least we don't make you feel like a fool. Which again, with some of these guys that I know they're no longer in business, that was their motto.
That was their motto.
Well, you were saying it. One of the questions that Ed was bringing up is future performance. I think is you want to make sure everyone is educated when they make the decision for both your borrowers and for people who are investing.
We have every intention of continuing that track record, but it's not a promise.
But there is a preferred return though.
There is.
Of 7.
We have a 7% preferred return, then we split 50-50. The earnings above 7%, and again we've been paying over 8% consistently for over 24 months.
So there is an incentive for him not to do 4%.
Oh yeah. But it's more just about it's just reiterating the fact of the level of service you bring is that you care about both your borrower and people who are investing, and you want to make sure that they are well educated into what transaction they're going into with you, which is really important.
When you treat your customers well, your borrowers, how many repeat borrowers do you get?
A lot.
Well, so you know the market out.
The bridge borrowers, oftentimes it's a one-off deal. Again, they're not accustomed to borrowing hard money. Now, our real estate investor clients, the people that are buying, fixing, and flipping, they come back over and over again because again, after we've done a few transactions, we don't have to run them through the same process every time because we just can update their information. Anyway, for more information, contact us at Pacific Private Money. Our website is, surprise, pacificprivatemoney.com. Okay, I know it's a long one, but it's just 3 words all together now. pacificprivatemoney.com.
And Kathryn, I don't know if you gave out your information when you asked the answer about the flat tax.
The flat tax has got to us. With Praveen Kratz CPAs, we're here in Larkspur Landing. And I can be reached at 415-461-8500.
So if people want to argue with you about the flat tax,
it's a great conversation. We get giddy about it, get excited. But any tax planning, it's July. If you have some quiet time or on one of those days of vacation, you have desire of doing some tax planning.
Honey,
you're being serious now, too.
Honey, we're not going to take a vacation today because we're going to do some tax planning.
We're hanging out by the pool, thinking of taxes.
If you're daydreaming about it, keeps you up at night, I'm happy to help.
Very good.
And go to the website, too. Don't forget the bestofinvesting.com. We also have bestofinvesting.com, so either way you spell it, you get it.
Oh yeah, we're out there enough. You can see us on the YouTube,
you can find out how to get a hold of Kathryn,
post office, pictures, everything. Okay.
Or listen to podcasts of past programs.
That's right. So we are putting our photos up in the post office ahead of time.
Yes, we
Yes.
Kind of get off the past there. Okay. Here's our thoughts for the day. In democracy, your vote counts. In feudalism, your town votes. And just remember,
Wait a minute.
It's not hard to meet expenses. They're everywhere. Speaking to an accountant here.
Yes.
Okay, tune in next week to The Best of Investing. We're going to be giving away 9 more free vacations for answering trivia questions. Thanks for listening. On behalf of our team, I'm Edward Brown, wishing you the best of investing. So long. Good.